Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Also, welcome to my studio. I'm going to be telling a few stories on my YouTube channel. I'm going to start today with Little Red Riding Hood. Once there was a little girl, a wonderful little girl, really kind and helpful and charming. Everybody loved her, but there was somebody who loved her more than most. Her grandma. Now this little girl used to visit her grandma very often at Grandma's cottage in the middle of the woods, taking her food and playing games and things with her. Her grandma was so grateful that she knitted this little girl a special hood out of red wool, and that's why most people called her Little Red Riding Hood. Now one day, Little Red Riding Hood had done some baking for Grandma, picked some apples, and made a bottle of juice. She wanted to take them to Grandma's cottage to cheer her up. "Make sure you stay on the path," said Little Red Riding Hood's mother. "Don't go wandering off into the woods, no matter what." "I won't, Mother." And off she set, out of the house, and on her way along the path into the woods. As she went under the trees, it got cooler and darker. She felt the leaves crunching underneath her feet, the twigs snapping. She heard a big snap in the twigs, actually, just around the corner. And when she got round the corner, she was faced by someone she'd not met before. So she didn't know how wicked and sly and cunning the wolf was. "Hello," he said. "Who are you?" "I'm Little Red Riding Hood. I'm on my way to visit Grandma. I've got her some cake, some apples, and some juice." "Oh, how lovely," said the wolf. "What a lovely little girl you are. Tell you what, though, how about some lovely flowers for your dear grandmama?" "That's a great idea, but there aren't any on here on the path." "Oh, no. Look over there in the woods. You see just off the path those lovely yellow flowers. Shouldn't leave the path, but they are nice. I'll just go and pick them, it'll be fine." So off she went to pick the yellow flowers. Now no sooner she picked a couple of yellow ones, she spotted some purple ones in the distance. "They'll go even nicer." And she headed off into the woods to get the purple flowers. Once she'd picked those purple flowers, she actually went and spotted some blue flowers and headed further off into the woods, further away from the path. And while she was picking the flowers, the wolf was plotting and scheming. "I could have hit her up there and then," he thought. "But if I plays my cards right, I could have a grandmama for dinner and a little red pudding." He headed along on the path. It didn't take him long to get to Grandma's. Went into her garden, opened up the gate, didn't shut it behind him. Bit rude. Grandma, meanwhile, was in bed. She heard the gate opening, but she didn't hear the gate closing. Now, Grandmama may have been slow in body, but she was quick in mind. "That doesn't sound like my Little Red Riding Hood. I wonder what's going on." Got herself out of bed and peered around to see what was happening. At that point, she saw a huge shadow cast itself over the window in the front door. Thud, thud, thud. "Who is it?" "It's the Little Red Riding Hood." That ain't her. And so Grandmama scuttled herself under the bed, hid up against the wall. So by the time the wolf burst in, she was already hidden away. He searched around for her, found her under the bed, but couldn't quite reach her with his big graspy hands. "Oh, nuts," he said. "Never mind, I've got a plan. You stay under there, you old busspot." He went through all of the cupboards and everything and found himself some old bedclothes and an old bed hat. He turned off the light, shut the curtains, and settled down into bed. It wasn't long before, actually, Lucky Red Riding Hood had managed to find her way back onto the path, and she got her way to the cottage, Grandma's cottage. She found the garden gate was open. Grandma always has this closed. Well, she went along the path and she saw the front door was open. Grandma always has this closed as well. So very cautiously she edged inside the cottage. It was quite dark. The living room was a bit dull. The kitchen, well, there weren't even any breakfast pots. Where was Grandma? She headed into Grandma's room, all dark and dingy. She see in the corner on the bed a shape in Grandma's clothes. Grandma, are you all right? You look a bit odd. She edged closer. Grandma, what big ears you've got! All the better to hear you with, my dear. She edged closer. Grandmama, what big eyes you've got! All the better to see you with, my dear. She came closer. She peered underneath the nose and spotted. Grandma, what big teeth you've got! All the better to eat you with, came the voice, and out leapt the wolf from the bed, chasing Little Red Riding Hood around and around the room. Red Riding Hood quickly ducked underneath the bed with Grandma. Nice and safe, because the wolf, no matter how raspy his hands were, couldn't quite reach them under the bed. Grandma and Little Red Riding Hood screamed as loud as they could. It rattled the windows, rattled the walls, and it alerted somebody. The woodcutter. The woodcutter, living in the woods, chopping the logs, heard the noise and came to see what the commotion was. He walked up to Grandma's cottage, saw the gate open, saw the door open, and knew there was something afoot. He headed up the garden path and into the house and saw what was going on. What on earth is all this kerfuffle? Said the woodcutter. I'm trying to get my job done and all I can hear is, you, he said to the wolf. I might have known you've had something to do with this, you rotter. The wolf spotted the anger in the woodcutter's eyes, the sharpness on his axe, screeched, ah! And headed out the window, without even opening it. He ran out of the garden, out of the woods, never to be seen again. And Grandmama and Little Red Riding Hood scuttled out from beneath the bed, carrying the basket with them. They shared the cake and the apples and the juice with the woodcutter, so grateful to have been saved. Little Red Riding Hood said thank you to Grandmama for keeping her safe under the bed. I've been very lucky, she said. I should never have wandered the path. I won't ever do that again. Did you know what? She never did. So there's no more stories about Red Riding Hood. That's the end of this one. Thank you. Bye-bye.